It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by AgileDad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. Here's another topic I thought would be interesting. These are the top 4 reasons Agile fails when we only blame product management. Now, I'll be the first to say, when I go into organizations, I see similar issues. And one of the big ones is that product managers are really unable to, I should say product owners as well, are unable to create work and organize work in such a way that it's well defined and easily consumable by a team. And that is number one on my list for dysfunctions as far as why organizations fail. So, with that being the case, it would make sense that product management has a lot to do with some of the failures. But I'm curious to see where these 4 failing points are going to take us. So, let's do it. So, number one is just take the pill. Just doing Agile doesn't necessarily mean being Agile. Here we go. It's an important distinction in terms of empowerment, courage, or culture, organization, customer focus, engineering practices, reaction to failure, etc. Doing Agile results in teams adopting the practices but not understanding any of the principles behind them. There we go. When you just go through the motions and you don't understand why you're doing it or what the purpose is, why do we have a daily stand up every day? Why do we do a retrospective at the end of every sprint? What is a sprint goal? Why does it matter? Why is acceptance criteria important? If you're not getting the benefits you expect, or you feel like you're not making any forward progress, everything in Agile seems to be a burden. So it's one of those times where you look at just taking a pill versus really understanding. If you don't know the why behind the what, you need to use those 3 magic words. Help me understand. Help me understand how this is going to make what we're doing better. Help me understand how this is going to bring me clarity. Help me understand where we're trying to go. Number 2 in the list is a half-hearted adoption. So sometimes when companies are required to do Agile, we're required to do the Agile because the market says so. The suppliers have to adopt the same practices as the people who are doing it. So we're doing the Scrum and the Safe Agile. We're going to do the Safe Agile. That's my favorite, right? It's just companies make efforts to adopt Agile because they're being asked to or forced to, not because they really want to or they understand. They don't even know the value behind it. They're just like, let's hop in and follow this and see what direction it takes us. There's no leadership, true leadership buy-in, other than leaders say the contract says we have to be able to do this, so we're going to do it. But instead of trying to usher in a season of change and change an entire organization all at once, we need to get to understanding how this is going to impact the culture, what changes are necessary, and self-organize around the opportunities of how we're going to pursue those changes. What I can tell you is the Agile 12-step program has this all sliced and diced and ready to go, and it's just a great way for you to see how you can do things in a timely manner, what things you can do, and how it's all going to break down. Number 3, how about slicing mechanism? This one's good not because it's evil, but because it shows good intentions that are put in action without proper understanding of how product development really works, right? So if you're trying to, for example, I don't know, modernize a legacy system with a modern platform. You're trying to get rid of something COBOL. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. You could spend months documenting in excruciating detail everything you need to do, all the requirements, all the features, everything from the legacy system needs to be ported to the new platform. You estimate the work and estimate it all in minutes and seconds if you need to. Set a deadline, promise delivery. You're doing waterfall at that point, right? Agile is oftentimes just a slicing mechanism where you're trying to take this complex work and just slice it down based on who's building it and how it's built exactly as specified. There's no concept of discovery of new user needs, adaptation based on what you've learned, prioritization of backlog work so highest priority items are completed earlier because they have the greatest urgency. It takes away all of those things. It literally takes a big waterfall project and turns it into incremental waterfall, which I will admit could be the first step towards Agile for organizations who are trying, but it shouldn't be the end. It should be the finish line, right? And then the last one is forget the big picture. When an agile team works repeatedly on the same product sprint after sprint, sometimes they're focused just on execution of getting the small things done, and they forget the context of the big picture about what they're trying to do. This one's common. And I think when you get down that rabbit hole and you start getting backlog items to say build the widget or extend the framework or whatever the case may be, it's short sighted and you're going to lose the context of what you're trying to do. It's just incredibly important to keep the team engaged throughout with the stakeholders. And it's important for you to have some type of vision and strategy document that guides the team or leads them to help them have what they need to be successful. So you shouldn't just be focused on that short term execution. I'm not saying it's not important, but you should focus on the short term execution and how it ties into the bigger picture. All right, that's going to do it. Short and sweet today. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.